Hi there. Welcome to Zero to Something. This is a place where we talk about journeys of tech startups and the founders. We discuss startups that are quite far along or the ones that are just at the beginning stages. The main idea is that we just talk about the actual journeys of founders with all the ups and downs, the wins, and also the mistakes. Sometimes I will be giving some solo episodes to you, like today, where I blend my psychology degree and my tech startup founding experience to discuss the journeys and talk about personal stories. And some other days, we'll be doing interviews with startup founders so they can share their small nuggets of information and wisdom, if you will. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'd like to start with a personal story. And this personal story, it is about this podcast and also about my startup and also about my personal life, really. When I was thinking about starting a podcast, and that has been multiple times throughout my life because I just love talking to people. I love sharing my ideas and also gaining their ideas. So it seemed like a very natural thing to do to be able to connect to more people and hopefully bring something helpful to others. And so I've thought about it many times and I've even started recording before. And then I just never posted it, never edited it, never came up with a name or the logo or anything really. Never told anybody I ever wanted to do it. The idea was in my head when I was starting the podcast. It was, well, there are other people. There are people who are good at this, who've been doing it for years. There are people who have so much more experience and they know so well what to say and how to say it. There are people whose expertise is insane and you just want to listen to them because you look at their resume and you're like, wow, I want to be that. And when it came to my startup, I was lucky enough to have found a co-founder who's a tech whiz, and I'm nowhere near tech. I'm the operational side of things. And when we just started and the idea was great and smart, the tech was new and also amazing. But at the back of my head, I was like, well, there are so many more capable people. There are such amazing startups. There are great ideas floating out there. You get where I'm going, right? That tiny voice in your head that keeps on telling you you're not good enough. You're not experienced enough. You don't have enough qualifications. There is somebody better than you, and so on and so forth. That amazing, so well-known imposter syndrome that is still there for so many people. It's fascinating. I'm a psychologist by degree, and I know the label. I know the symptoms. I know even what to do with it. And yet I'm still not immune to it. And the reality is no one's immune to imposter syndrome. Actually, if you think about some very famous people, Tom Hanks or Michelle Obama or the CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, all of them said that at one point in their lives, they felt like they were pretending to know things. And the most interesting thing to me actually was that they mentioned that they were afraid to be found out as imposters. And if they are not immune to, who is? So today, I'd like to talk to you about why it's so prevalent among startup founders, how we can identify it, and what we can actually do about this. What is imposter syndrome? In very, very simple terms, imposter syndrome is just when capable people think they're not capable enough. And that can be in absolutely any area of their lives. Originally, this concept came from the 70s studies among high-achieving women. The idea was that women were so much more susceptible to imposter syndrome than men. Unfortunately, as years passed, we found out that imposter syndrome does not discriminate. Not race, not gender, not age, and not even the experience you've had in life. So why is this very common among startup founders? Well, two actual reasons. Reason one, it is a very high-paced, high-risk, and high-achievement environment. We're always striving to do great without any certainty, and that makes us doubt ourselves and our capabilities. Number two is that as founders, we constantly have to shift roles. Today, you're the CEO, and tomorrow you're the accountant, and the day after you're a software engineer, and then the day after that, you're suddenly a salesperson with a little side hustle of customer support. And because we're trying so many roles, and realistically, we can't be perfectly experienced and amazing in every single one of them, we understand our shortcomings, and sometimes we exaggerate them as well. And we feel like because we're not competent to an extreme level in some areas, we shouldn't at all. So what are some very common signs of imposter syndrome? Well, there are many. And usually if you're exhibiting one, you're probably exhibiting multiple. First one, you're telling yourself that you were supposed to be 10 steps into the journey and you've made it only 3. So whatever successes and wins you've had up to today, they don't matter. Number 2, imagine this. You're in your startup journey where you're ready to put more time and energy into SEO and marketing. It's not your expertise. You know nothing about it. So you go and you ask ChatGPT a couple questions. You find out some information. And then you go and read a couple blog posts. And then you decide to create a Notion template for your blogs, for example, and then maybe a tracker for the website. And then you set up multiple systems and then you download an app. And then maybe you go and read some more. And then you realize you're not a visual learner, you're an auditory learner. So you go and watch a couple YouTube videos. And then you come to this realization, your Notion templates are wrong. So you go and create new ones. And the learning and preparation never stops, right? You're trying to prepare yourself for every possible scenario before that scenario ever happens. Number 3, procrastination. And yes, we all know that. Procrastination does not equal laziness. Procrastination is usually your body's way of saying, we are not ready for this. I am afraid. Let's not do this. If I don't see the problem doesn't see me. This is also a very common sign of imposter syndrome. And finally, it's comparisons. When you constantly look at other people and compare yourself to them. And I'm not talking about that inspirational way where you look at founders' stories and you just gain this feeling that, oh yes, you can do absolutely anything. And then they could be your mentor. And then if they could get it, you could get it. No. I'm talking about when you look at them and you say, well, of course they succeeded. They have 15 years of experience in the field. They have built 2 other startups before that, and they come from rich families. I'm neither of those, so there is no chance I can succeed, so I'm not going to start. But whenever you try to compare yourself to others this much, most probably it's imposter syndrome. So we have figured out what it is and how we identify it. So what the hell do we do with it? And that's a very good question because the strategies, they aren't very difficult, but they are very difficult. And I'll explain to you what I mean. Let's start with the first one. The first one is reframe. Instead of seeing things as, I don't know what to do, I have no experience, I'm not capable enough, just go with, it's a fun experiment. I'm learning as I go. I'd like to share my journey with others. And yes, easy to say, not so easy to do. I fully get that. But it is incredibly powerful. And part of this reframing could be just normalizing the experience, right? As I said, a lot of celebrities face it. A lot of founders face it. Actually, some research suggests that about 31% of founders have experienced imposter syndrome. Some research even ventures to say that over 70% of people at some point in their lives have experienced it. Normalize it and then reframe it. Number 2, practice micro courage. And that means do it. You can have so many doubts and so many things can go wrong, but also so many things can go right. You will never know until you actually do it. And it can look different depending on what your main struggles are. For example, for me, it looks like posting this podcast. And interestingly, I've been procrastinating it for so long. And yet in the past week that I've made a decision to actually start it and started filming it, I've met a couple of very interesting people whose stories I really want to know. So it turned out to be a great connection, even in the first week that I've actually started making steps for it instead of just dreaming of it in my head. Another great way to deal with your imposter syndrome is celebrate wins, no matter how big or small they are. And when your client says something good about you, or maybe an investor, or maybe you submitted your pitch for tracking and somebody gave some good feedback to you, write it down. Have a table somewhere. It will help you in so many ways. Number one, you'll have testimonials for your website. Number two, you will know how to sell your product because you will know what actually attracts people to your product the most. Number three, you will see that you're capable to build something that people really want. No matter how big or small, track them and celebrate them. But I understand, as founders, we have a shortage of time. And I think this is the most important currency we have because we have so much stuff to do and just not enough hours in the day. But the reality is, take half an hour, 10 minutes, an hour, or a full day, whatever you can afford without feeling guilty to actually celebrate your wins. And celebrating it may look different for different people. For somebody, it would be a nice meal. For somebody else, it would be a long conversation with a friend instead of 2 hours working on investor pitch. And for somebody, it will be a sports session, bouldering, hiking. You crazy people who do that, dancing, that's more for me. Anything really. Or take a moment to just sit and tell yourself how amazing you are. And finally, and in my experience, most importantly, find a community. Here are a couple examples from my personal life. When it came to our startup, and as I mentioned, I have an amazing co-founder who is really good at tech and he's very ambitious and he has great experience too. So when we started the company, not once did I think that he wasn't capable enough or he wasn't going to manage in this journey and that his startup wouldn't take off. And because his startup was also my startup, then my self-doubts went away because you stop concentrating on what's not working for you. And you're kind of thinking about, okay, what can I do so we together can succeed? Because this person cannot not succeed, right? And sometimes it's easier to see in other people than it is in yourself. Another great way community can help you, they can share their own experiences with you and you can normalize it and reframe it just the way they have done. And finally, the community can hold you accountable. For example, what I did this time round, when I made up my mind that I wanted to do a podcast, I went around and told every single person that I'm starting the podcast. I told everyone the name. I told everyone that I've signed up on the websites. I will be posting it. And then I started recording my first one and I hated it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just re-record it. And then I noticed I was procrastinating re-recording it. So I went to some of my friends and other people in the community and I told them my episode is coming out on Tuesday. So now, no matter how much I want to procrastinate, I can't do it because there is this whole community that's holding me accountable. Funnily enough, a couple of people texted me. They're like, oh my God, are you excited for Tuesday? I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. It gives me encouragement, but it also keeps me in line. This is my deadline. I cannot pass that. So find the community, reframe, and celebrate wins. And I guarantee you, you will be unstoppable. Because the reality is, there is always someone that is more capable of you, more experienced than you, has more money than you, has traveled more, speaks more languages. It doesn't matter what you take. There is always somebody who's more. But that is true for every single person on the planet. So go out into the world and just do it. Post that reel about your product and tell everyone what you're building. Or go and build it finally. Or talk to that investor that you've been dreading to talk to. And finally, I'd like to leave you with 2 questions. You can journal on them if that works well for you. And I know for a lot of people, journaling is the right thing to do. I, however, have absolutely no patience for that. So instead, I usually reflect on some questions while I'm going about my daily activities like a walk, grocery shopping, shower, cooking, whatever it is. So reflect on these questions in whatever way works for you. but I suggest you do because it might give you a bit of understanding into how you're actually feeling on your startup journey. The first question I'd like to leave you with is, what have I been avoiding or hesitating to do because I don't feel ready enough? The second question is, what is a recent win I can stop and celebrate? And with that, thank you for joining in. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.